Hey guys, YouTube Nerd here. Alright, and now here I am for Halloween to finish off the horror movie reviews for the year. And so to conclude them, here I am with the review for The Silence of the Lambs. So yeah, so basically for the last over 30 years now, this film really has been looked at as a classic. And yeah, it is. Yeah, this really is like among some of the most best well made horror movies of all time. Yeah. Now, yeah, so this isn't entirely horror. Like it really is like more of like a psychological thriller. But yeah, it is like still like classified as a horror film as well. And yeah, and it does definitely have some horror elements in it. And yeah, and what can I say? Just yeah, this film really is the classic. Everybody does say it is. Yeah, it really just has it all. Yeah, it really does have a very good story, has a really good direction, has some great performances, and yeah, it really is just like all around a really great film. So yeah, so that's really like the best way to put it. So yeah, it really is like a really great film. Yeah, I never had actually seen this film before, at least in its entirety, up until I just watched it to make this review. And yeah, this really is the classic everybody does say it is. So yeah, so of course, in this film, you do have, of course, the two main stars of this film, Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins, and yeah, and they both do like really great in this film. Like, yeah, Anthony Hopkins really does do a great job as Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, I mean Hannibal Lecter is probably like his most well-known character that he's played of all time. Yeah, and yeah, and Anthony Hopkins really does like absolutely nail it as Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, he really is just like great in this film. Of course, like this film does like have that moment with like the fava beans line and him like doing the thing. Yeah, of course, like that's probably like the most well known line from this film. And yeah, and both Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins really are just great in their roles in this film. Yeah, yeah, and this film also does have other cast members such as Scott Glenn, Ted Levine, Anthony Heald, Brooke Smith, Diane Baker, and some others. Yeah, and they all do like pretty good in this film. Yeah, and this film really just like yeah, it really does have like a really good story of like how there's like this FBI trainee who's played by Jodie Foster, and yeah, and yeah, and it's how she's like hunting to find a serial killer, and yeah, and she's like is seeking advice from Hannibal Lecter, and yeah, it shows how like of course Hannibal Lecter really is just like this cannibalistic serial killer that was also a former psychiatrist, and yeah, and Anthony Hopkins really does play the role really well, like how like he he plays Hannibal Lecter as despite the fact that he is like this just like a this like batshit psychotic serial killer. Like he really does like play him like very like smooth and calm. Like it would make it seem like if you're just like talking to him like one on one, like you wouldn't even know like he really is like the psychotic killer that he really is. Yeah, and of course like it does like have like the visuals that like everybody does know for Hannibal Lecter. How like he's like strapped down to like a some sort of like a stretcher or something, and yeah, and it shows how like he's got like the face mask over his mouth, and yeah, I know it does have like the iconic lines such as the fava beans line, and yeah, Hannibal Lecter just has like so many memorable moments in this film. And yeah, and of course, they have had like more like Hannibal Lecter films, like sequels and prequels to this film, such as the 2001 Hannibal movie and like the two prequel films, Red Dragon and Hannibal Rising, which I've never actually seen any of those films. I may check those films out sometime in the future. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, just yeah, everybody has really just like called this film a classic over the last 30 plus years, and yeah, it is. So what can I really say about it? Just it is just like an all around great film, and if you haven't seen it before, definitely check it out. So yeah, so I would probably give this film. Oh my gosh, it's hard to really um rate this film. I don't really know if I really do, if I really would like give it like a full on 4 stars or not. Um, yeah, I guess I'll just go with the 3.75 stars out of 4. Yeah, that's what I'll give this film. But yeah, it is like a real classic, and if people would give it 4 stars, I wouldn't argue. So yeah, so that's really like the best way to really put this film. All right, so yeah, so I just really don't know what else I can really say about it, but yeah, it has been like selected for preservation in the National Film Registry, and yeah, and even like the the U.S. Library of Congress has even like considered it like historically, culturally, and aesthetically significant. So yeah, so this film really does have its place in history for films. All right. So yeah, I could really talk about this film's accolades for a whole like hour, I think. So yeah, so I guess I'll just talk about the plot of the movie. All right. So yeah, so like I said, the film shows how there's like this FBI trainee named Clarice Starling, who's played by Jodie Foster. Yeah, and then yeah, then her boss Jack Crawford like assigns her to do an interview with Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, yeah, with Hannibal Lecter, and yeah, and like he tells her how Hannibal Lecter is like this very intelligent former psychiatrist, and he is like a cannibalistic serial killer as well. Yeah, and like the main reason that he like Crawford is like asking Starling to do this interview was because he's really wanting to get some insights into like another psychopathic serial killer that's known as Buffalo Bill, and apparently Buffalo Bill, he is like he like kills overweight women and skins them. Yeah. So then as Starling then arrives at the Baltimore State Hospital for the Criminally Insane, where Lecter is being housed, as she meets him, uh, shows how like at first um, Lecter really is like very courteous towards her, but then yeah, then it shows over time how he is like rebuffing her, and then like he ended up deducing like Crawford's real motive from her. Yeah, and initially, like he is like refusing to actually give give a Starling any sort of um uh, details about Buffalo Bill. Oh yeah, but then yeah, and then as a Starling was like leaving, and then like as she was walking past like another prisoner, like he ended up like flinging a piece of his sperm at her. Yuck. Then yeah, then like for some reason this ended up like setting Hannibal off, and then yeah, then he decided to change his mind, and then provided Starling with a clue about Buffalo Bill. Yeah, and yeah. Then as she like followed Hannibal's clue, then like she eventually like discovered like this jar that like had someone's severed head. Yeah, and yeah, and then like has like this like linked darling to Buffalo Bill. Then Hannibal then like offered to profile the killer, but yeah, in return like he wanted to like be transferred away from the hospital he was being housed at because he has some detestment for Dr. Frederick Chilton. Yeah, and and then over time, like we like it showed how like there were like a couple of other like deaths that had happened that were like related to like the events of Hannibal or also like could possibly link them to Buffalo Bill. How like there was like the inmate that like flung his sperm at Starling. Like he ended up swallowing his own tongue under Hannibal's influence. Yeah, and then and then uh, the FBI then eventually like discovered like another victim that had like this like a sort of like a insect creature that was like known as a death's head moth lodged in her throat. Yeah. Yeah. Then it showed how like Buffalo Bill was actually like located in Tennessee, and then it showed how like he ended up abducting this woman, Catherine Martin, who was actually the daughter of a U.S. Senator, Ruth Martin. Yeah. Then as he like ended up abducting her, then like as the news like got to as the news got to uh Crawford, then like he authorized Starling to like pretty much like a goat elector into like any of the more information on Buffalo Bill by like offering him a fake deal that promised a prison transfer if he helped them capture Buffalo Bill in time to rescue Catherine. But Hannibal, aware of this, then he just like ended up like demanding like a quid pro quo, and offered clues in exchange for like personal information about Starling, which he agreed to. Yeah. Yeah, but then, after Dr. Chilton discovered what Starling did, he then exposed the site and then offered a new deal to Hannibal, and then Hannibal then agreed to be flown to Memphis, and then then as he arrived in Memphis, he then like gave Senator Martin like some information on Buffalo Bill's appearance, but he also like gave them a false name for Buffalo Bill, identifying him as Lewis Friend. Yeah, and then as Starling like figured out that the name is actually an anagram of iron sulfide or fool's gold. She then visited Hannibal, who was now being imprisoned in Tennessee, and then then she eventually ended up like describing a traumatic childhood incident that she had where she heard like lambs screaming at slaughter in a barn, but she couldn't save them, and then Hannibal then speculated that she hoped that saving Catherine could end her nightmares. Yeah, and then then satisfied with what has transpired, then he then gave Starling back some case files that he swiped earlier. Yeah, and then then it showed how that evening then as the two security guards were bringing Hannibal like his food from into his cell. Then he ended up tricking them and ended up killing both of them pretty brutally, and and then then he was able to escape. Yeah. Then eventually, then Starling then figured out that Buffalo Bill actually knew his first victim, who was identified as Frederica Bimmel. Yeah. Then she traveled to Bimmel's hometown in Ohio and discovered that Bimmel and Buffalo Bill were both tailors. Yeah. And then as she then like eventually found some evidence that showed how Buffalo Bill was actually has been making a suit out of human skin. Then the culprit was eventually identified as this person named James Gum, that the FBI does believe to be to be transsexual, but apparently like he was deemed too violent to actually apply for a sex change operation. Yeah. Then uh, Crawford then like assembled like an FBI hostage rescue team to storm Gum's dress in Illinois, but they discovered that the house was empty. But then uh, Starling then followed her lead that brought her to the house of Bimmel's former client. Yeah, and then she then met the real James Gum there, and then she then discovered that he's the real Buffalo Bill after she saw a dead head moth. Yeah, and as she then was pursuing him with a gun, she eventually then discovered Catherine and was trapped in a dry well in like Gum's cavernous basement. Yeah, but then as she continued to try to find Gum, it showed then how he was stalking her in a dark room with night vision goggles. But then as he had a gun as well, as he was cocking it, it uh Starling then very quickly reacted and then ended up shooting Gum dead. Yeah. And then later on, Crawford and the FBI then all arrived and then recovered both Catherine and Starling from the house. Yeah, and then it showed later on as Starling was officially graduating her FBI training. During the party, then she then received a phone call from Hannibal. Well, and it was revealed how Hannibal was now in the Bahamas at a Bimini airport, and yeah, then he was just telling Starling that he doesn't have any intention of pursuing her and requests that she return the favor. But yeah, she said that she can't do that. But then he just told her that he is having an old friend for dinner as he hung up, and then it just showed how he was trailing some newly arrived Chilton into the crowd, and that's how the movie ended. So yeah, so like I said, this really is the classic that people have said it is over the last 30 plus years. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it really is just a really great film. It has a great story. It's well directed. It's well acted. Yeah, and it really does have a lot of memorable moments in it. So yeah, so what else can I really say about it? It really is a classic, and if you haven't seen it before, definitely check it out. So yeah, so like I said, I give this film 3.75 stars out of 4. Yeah. So yeah, definitely a must see for any horror movie fan, and even just for film fans in general. Yeah, this is a must see if you haven't seen it before for anybody that likes movies. All right. So yeah, so I guess that's the best way I can put it. All right. So like I said, give the film 3.75 stars out of 4. All right. So yeah. So I guess that's all I can really say about it. All right. So this is my review of Silence of the Lambs. Yeah. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. Yeah, and I hope you guys did enjoy these horror movie reviews that I did for Halloween this year. Yeah. I am glad that I got to talk about these films because yeah, these still are some other famous horror films that I was yet to talk about. So I'm glad that I was able to talk about them this year. Yeah, and hopefully in the future years, I'll be able to talk about even more horror films. So yeah, so I hope you guys did enjoy the horror movie reviews this year for Halloween. All right, so yeah, so I hope you guys did enjoy these. Yeah, and now as we head into November, I do have some stuff planned for November, including at the start of the month, I do have something planned in honor of a movie that's coming up, which I'm sure a lot of you do know which one it is. But yeah, so I got something planned for that coming up. And I'll have some more stuff coming through the month of November. All right, but I hope you guys enjoy these horror movie reviews. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.